Hello and welcome. This is News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Fidelia Guncha. We'll begin with the arrest of a female suicide bomber by the Nigerian Army in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. Army spokesperson Brigadier General Texas Chiku says the suspect was apprehended by troops at Goni Kalachari while attempting to detonate her suicide vest. She has been identified as Shaidatu Adamu, a 19-year-old from Gwoza in Borno State. According to the Army, the suspect confessed that she was sent on the suicide mission by Boko Haram insurgents. She has now been transferred to Military Intelligence Brigade, Maiduguri, for further investigation. Adamu's arrest comes hours after the Army announced that its troops have arrested 16 civilians from Boko Haram captivity in Borno State. Army spokesperson Brigadier General Jude Chukwu says the civilians, which comprise of 6 women and 10 children, were rescued by troops on clearance operation in Borno State. Chukwu also says 2 Boko Haram insurgents were killed in the operation, which was a joint mission with civilian Joint Task Force members. He also says troops destroyed a Boko Haram camp in the area and are currently in pursuit of other fleeing terrorists. Well, to politics now. The Speaker of the Anambra State House of Assembly, Rita Maduagu, has been impeached after 20 of the 30 members of the House voted for her removal. Maduagu was accused of financial impropriety, gross misconduct, and sundry allegations. Ikem Uzozie has now been appointed as the new Speaker of the House. Now, the development comes a week after a Speaker and his deputy were impeached in Ondo State, southwest Nigeria. In the National Assembly, the Nigerian Senate has adjourned plenary for a week after it failed to form a quorum. At the plenary, only 20 members of the Senate were seated, where the chamber needs at least 38 members to carry out legislative activities. The Minority Whip Philip Aduda moved a motion for the adjournment of the plenary, citing Order 10, subsection 3 of the Senate rules. The motion was approved by Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu. Now, this means the lawmakers will resume plenary on Tuesday, 20th of November. Well, in the lower chamber, the House of Representatives has threatened to adjourn plenary indefinitely over a faulty sound system. Speaker of the House, Yakubu Dogara, issued the threat after he adjourned plenary for a second time in less than a week over the issue. Now, during plenary today, which lasted a little over an hour, lawmakers were seen passing a cordless microphone around to enable them contribute on the floor of the House. Now, Dogara has warned that it must be fixed before the next plenary on Wednesday, November 14, 2018. President Muhammadu Buhari has received the 4th Amendment of the Electoral Act. Ita Enang, who is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly matters, says the President received the bill earlier this month before heading for France, where he is representing the country in a peace summit. He says the President will review the bill again when he returns, but did not give a deadline for the passage.
Extradition Act is to vest the jurisdiction on matters relating to extradition on the Federal High Court, as an electoral amendment bill passed by the National Assembly had been transmitted to Mr. President sometime, I think on the 7th or 8th of November. So the electoral amendment bill is with us. The bill has just come to the Mr. President, and Mr. President is allowed by law to look at the content of every law. And as of all the bills I have mentioned, you can look at the time that they came, the time it took for the work to be done on the bill. Therefore, Mr. President, conscious of the issues surrounding it and all circumstances, the bill is receiving attention.
Enang also says Buhari has signed an extradition bill into law. The bill is one of 5 others signed by the President on Monday. Enang says the Extradition Amendment Act hands jurisdiction on extradition proceedings to the Federal High Court and no longer on the magistrate courts.
Extradition Act is to vest the jurisdiction on matters relating to extradition on the Federal High Court. As of today, matters relating to extradition under the 2004 Act is you can only obtain order from the magistrate court. So what the National Assembly has done at the behest of Mr. President, who submitted the bill, is to say that only the Federal High Court and not the Magistrate Court has jurisdiction on matters relating to extradition. If you look at Section 15, subsection 15 of the Extradition Act, you'll see that it has made provision for trial. But you also look at Section 36, subsection 9. It says that nobody should suffer double jeopardy. If you were tried, convicted, or acquitted of offense in another country, if you move to another country by way of extradition, you can no more be tried for that offense because you have already been tried and appropriately sentenced for that offense or acquitted for that offense. You cannot, because you've left one jurisdiction, stand trial in another jurisdiction for the same offense. It is a question of international practice in treaties and protocol.
Still on anti-corruption matters, Acting Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, has been reeling out his achievement in 3 years in office. Magu has also been given updates on the plans to extradite a former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Diezani Alison Madueke, and the Malabu oil deal. Onya Adekunle has the rest of the story.
As journalists eagerly await the press briefing, Magu begins his address by highlighting his achievements in office. He says the commission has secured over 103 convictions and recovered 871 billion naira within 3 years.
In the 3 years that I have been in charge of the EFCC, we have secured a total of 703 convictions. The breakdown is as follows. In 2015, we got 103 convictions. In 2016, we got 194 convictions. In the year 2017, the commission was 189. From January 1st, 2018 to date, ladies and gentlemen, we got 217 conviction as of today, and we have all the details from the judge, from the number, from the complainant, from the suspect, everything. Following court orders which granted our prayers for interim and final forfeitures of looted funds, the recoveries under my watch between November 2015 and today are as follows. Over 798 billion naira. Over. Definitely, I'm sure it's much over than this. Over 206 million naira. That is within, not outside, not the one we aided.
Magu also says the anti-graft agency has secured the permanent forfeiture of 126 mansions and is working on securing the forfeiture of 281 others, which were allegedly built with illegal proceeds.
From 2015 to 2018, 407 mansions were seized. 126 have been forfeited finally to the federal government, and 208 are under interim forfeiture. 9 Philistines were seized and placed under interim forfeiture. Land seized, some up to 98, of which 56 are under interim forfeiture, while 42 have been forfeited finally to the federal government. 259 automobiles have been seized. 35 are under interim forfeiture, while 224 have been forfeited finally.
The anti-graft czar also speaks on high-profile corruption cases which the commission is working on. On a former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Diezani Alison Madueke, Magu says the EFCC is working on her extradition to face trial in Nigeria.
We are tired of waiting. That's why I said, look, if you are not prosecutor, bring our prosecutor. So there's no prosecution going on there. We are involved in the investigation in this country and outside this country, in America, in London. I have been there, all the places. We have worked together, we've sat down together. So I mean, we cannot wait endlessly like this. I think 3 years and above is sufficient for you to take her to court. There is no court process going against her. There is no prosecution. Nobody's prosecuting her there. So that's why I say let us initiate extradition initiative so that she can bring her, she'll face the rest of the law.
He also gives an update on the long-standing Malabu oil scandal involving former government officials and 2 oil giants.
Next week or so, the prosecutors from Italy will be here. We are working, collaborating very well with our colleagues in Italy and the other part of the world. And we are determined to see to the end of it. So the prosecution is very much ongoing.
He ends the briefing by soliciting the support of Nigerians to win the anti-corruption war.
We want to protect the future generation, our children, so that there will be better Nigeria for them. I think we are almost about signing out. So please, I want you to take ownership of the fight against corruption. It's not for me alone, it's for everybody, every Nigerian. The easiest way to fight corruption is to involve everybody, because everybody is a stakeholder. In fact, God himself has mandated every Nigerian to fight corruption, because God has not mandated you to come and commit crimes here. If you don't fight corruption, you go back, they will ask you.
The chairman also announced the resolve of the agency to go after top Nigerian contractors who collected huge sums of money from the government and its agency for key projects and services, but abandoned those projects and disappeared into thin air. He also says the commission is on the trail of top Nigerians who looted public treasury to acquire choice property in Dubai and other world capitals. Onyi Adekunle, TV360, Nigeria.
In Kano State, a state high court has upheld its earlier order halting the State House of Assembly Investigative Committee from probing the bribery allegation against Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. The court also ordered all other parties involved in the investigation to maintain status quo pending the determination of the originating summon. Ganduje has been seen on video taking bribes from an unnamed contractor. He has, however, denied the video, insisting it was doctored. Well, less than a week after President Muhammadu Buhari declared a state of emergency in the water sector, stakeholders converged in Abuja to find a solution to the massive water shortage and lack of potable water to millions of Nigerians. Commissioners of Water Resources, permanent secretaries, chairmen, and managing directors of river basin development authorities, managing directors of water agencies, and experts in the sector are gathered here to formulate policies to address Nigeria's water challenge. Adeshewa Odushoga has the rest of the story.
Water supply, sanitation and hygiene is the focus of this gathering. After President Buhari raised an emergency status of Nigeria's water situation, policymakers and critical stakeholders have set out to address the issue. Majority of the speakers are of the opinion that Nigeria needs huge investment in the water sector to attain sustainable development goal.
Nigeria needs to invest about $8 billion annually in providing potable water to achieve 6 of the Sustainable Development Goals by the year 2030. We are experiencing water infrastructure deficit in Nigeria. There is no gain saying some states are fairly doing well while some others are not. This government should look into how we can have a seamless success across the state of the Federation. I quite agree that inadequate investment is one of the factors for the poor coverage of WASH in Nigeria. Thanks to the Honorable Minister of Water Resources and his team for their unrelenting effort and pragmatic initiation, guidance and policies towards water sufficiency and better sanitation and hygiene for all Nigerians.
Less than 7% of people in Nigeria have pipe-borne water in their houses from public sector. If not, private boreholes. Less than 10% of the population has got water connected to their houses. And today in Nigeria, there are less than 1 or 2 towns with 24 hours of water supply. So what it means is that Nigeria has to invest. Nigeria has to invest.
Permanent Secretary FCT Administration and Permanent Secretary Federal Ministry of Water Resources stressed the government is mindful of the challenges of water and its importance to the health of the nation. They, however, called on stakeholders to put in their best for maximum result.
As we deliberate and brainstorm on how to increase investment for accelerated coverage of water supply and sanitation in Nigeria, I urge you all to profile the way forward in addressing the funding gap in water supply and sanitation management in Nigeria by thinking outside the box.
In spite of the enormous opportunities in the water sector, in terms of abundant fresh water, favorable weather, substantial human capacity, and numerous institutional arrangements, there are still, of course, a lot of challenges. This gathering, therefore, is yet another step towards addressing the myriad of challenges and to concretize efforts of various stakeholders towards ensuring adequate water supply and sanitation services to our ever-increasing population.
The 2-day event is expected to produce policy guidelines for managers of water agencies and institutions in the country. Adeshawa Odushoga, TV360, Lagos.
News now will continue after this break. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
What do you want to buy?
Potato. Small baskets. I want plantain. But why your plantain can't hard like this?
Madam, now the outside hard. Inside there, it is very soft.
Madam, wallahi make her no buy them. Make her show you something. What? What's in this one? Madam, this one now the chemical where they put on for the plantain make her ripe up.
So you dey put chemical for plantain where people go chop?
No water, no be chemical. Madam.
You know, say Pela, I don't talk and say water and not be enemy. Drink come.
Where you collect that water, drink am.
I just stop finish. See my belly. It don't big. I just stop drink water finish.
Wait, you drink come now. At the sell plantain, I go come put on for chemical because I want to make a ripe go. That's why I talk now corruption. Corruption. Not be for this kaswa, come not be for this country. Now me take
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Welcome back. Let's now join Esther Vasey for the latest in business. Hello, Esther.
Hi, Fidelia.
So we know Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has been, telling us how much he has achieved so far in office. Could you give us more details on this, please?
Well, after 3 years in office, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, as you said, Babatunde Fashola, has been highlighting his achievements. And the minister told a press conference in Abuja that Nigeria's power supply has massively improved within the 3 years he has overseen the ministry. And he also noticed there are more improvements on the way. Fashola has also insisted that road construction has gone on smoothly, maintaining that road networks in Nigeria have upgraded from the states they were in 2015.
I am proud and happy to report that we have walked our talk and we have delivered visible results and recorded qualitative progress. With regard to power, we have improved on what we met by increasing generation from 4,000 megawatt to 7,000 megawatt, transmission from 5,000 megawatt. I'm told now that the last simulation is around 8,000 megawatt in transmission, and distribution has improved from 2,690 to a peak of 5,222 early in January of this year. Our work is clearly not finished, and we are still in the process of delivering additional generation. In Kaduna, we are expecting 215 megawatt in a matter of a few months, In AFAM 4, we're expecting 240 megawatt to be finished in a matter of weeks and latest a few months. In Kashimbila, all our equipment is on site to add 40 megawatt. In Gurara, we are expecting 30 megawatt. We are just now doing what you call snag management. And in Dadinkowa, 29 megawatt. There are also power plants whose works have started in 9 universities out of 37. The 9 represent a first phase. There is not one state, and I repeat this, there is not one state in Nigeria today where the federal government of Nigeria is not executing at least one road project and where construction workers are engaged on sites. Difficult or abandoned projects like the second Niger Bridge, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the Bodo-Boni Bridge have all been brought back to life. Sections of Ilorin-Jeba, Sokoto to Jega, Sokoto to Ilela have been completed, while progress of works continues nationwide from Jada to Mayo-Belwa, Enugu to Port Harcourt, Lagos to Ota, Ikorodu to Shagamu, Benin to Okene, Lokoja to Abuja, Kano to Maiduguri, Abuja to Kaduna, and Kano, to mention a few. Apart from recovered construction jobs and growth in the construction sector, the feedback from road users is that the journey times are reducing on the completed sections.
And MTN is in the news again, but this time for good reasons. The Africa telecommunications giant, MTN, says it will apply for a mobile banking license in Nigeria. The chief executive officer of the group, Rob Shutter, in a telecommunications conference, says the group will also be launching mobile money in Nigeria around the second quarter of 2019. Shutter, who has led MTN since last year, also says the company would relaunch mobile money services in South Africa 2 years after canning the service. He adds that the company has also bought a music streaming business, that's Simply, which he says is Africa's leading music streaming business. And the success of mobile money over in East Africa, pioneered by Kenya's Safaricom, has convinced investors and industry that financial services is the next growth area for telecommunications to offset falling prices for basic services. And in the global oil market, oil prices fell by more than 1% early on Tuesday after US President Donald Trump put pressure on OPEC not to cut supply. Saudi Energy Minister Khalid Al-Fali had hinted OPEC, which Saudi Arabia de facto leads, agreed there was a need to cut oil supply next year by around 1 million barrels per day from October levels to prevent oversupply. But US President Donald Trump puts pressure on Saudi Arabia and OPEC to not cut supply in order to prop up the market. And now we're going to take a quick look at the trading session for today. Now, although we did close the market with a 0.03% rise in key market indicators, we can actually say, I can actually tell you, we've recorded more losses this year than we have gains. As we see, the oil share index is struggling on the 32,152.90 psychological line. Market capitalization is still within 11 trillion naira. Now, on the gainers chart, we have WAPCO, that's Lafarge Africa, GlaxoSmithKline, Stanbic IBTC, and Flour Mills of Nigeria, leading all our percentage gainers today. And on the losers chart, we have Nestle, who was actually doing well. Actually thought they would go higher to get to their 1,500 point that they reached about last month, but they've been declining, and now they've declined again to 1,450 naira. Hopefully by maybe along this week, they can get to 1,500. Okumu Oil Palms has a 5.08% decline in its share price. Julius Berger has a 9.992% decline. And Forte Oil closed at 20 naira and 6 kobo. On the top traders, we have Ikeja Hotel making a lot of trades today at 279.104 million shares transacted at 572.164 1.4 million naira. First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, Diamond Bank, and First City Monument Bank. As expected, the financial service completes our top traders. Now, a market summary: we have almost 400 million shares valued at over 2 billion naira being transacted in almost 3,000 deals. Now, what's interesting, I should point out, as last week, Sky Aviation Handling Company did say that it was going to sometime this week announce an initial public offering, which it did today. Actually, it opened its shares after four years of listing drought on the NSE in Nigeria. We have Sky Aviation Handling Company announcing its initial public offering by the way of an offer for sale of over 406 million ordinary shares of 50 kobo each at 4.65 naira per share, and it opened for subscription on Monday, that's today. I beg your pardon, yesterday, and closes on Wednesday, 19th of December 2018. So investors and all those interested, yes, you could buy shares from Sky Aviation Handling Company. Now, on the global stock market, we have FTSE in the greens, Dow Jones in the greens, and Nikkei, who was in the greens, I believe Fidelia did mention yesterday, as a result of the Alibaba trading they had, closed with massive gains yesterday, but today we see them in the reds with a 2.06% decline in key market indicators. And that's what I have for you, Fidelia.
Thank you, Esther, for that update. It's good to see that the Dow has recovered from yesterday's loss, but I also noticed that the shares of Apple still fell for 4 consecutive days. That's really sad. Well, thank you again for that update. Still to come is update on the fire outbreak in a secondary school in Uganda, but after this break. So stay with us.
In line with the continuous pursuit of good governance and national unity, Good Governance Ambassadors of Nigeria, with the support of the Presidency, presents the unveiling and launching of Buhari Unity Band, coming up on Thursday, 15th November 2018. Venue, Conference Center, State House Presidential Villa, Abuja. Time, 9:30 a.m. Special guest of honor, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Chairman, His Excellency Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu Jagaban Bogu, National Leader, All Progressives Congress, APC. Chief Launcher, Engineer Prince Arthur Eze. Co-Launcher, His Excellency Senator Abdullahi Adamu, former Governor, Nasarawa State. Host, Good Governance Ambassadors of Nigeria, Gogan.
Welcome back. Ugandan police have held 3 students in custody for their alleged involvement in a school dormitory fire that killed at least 9 children and injured 40 others. The 3 students had recently been suspended for bringing alcohol into St. Bernard Secondary School in Rakai. At the time of the incident, the doors of the dormitory were padlocked, trapping dozens of students inside and further complicating rescue efforts. Now, 30 of the wounded students have been taken to hospitals for treatment. Some of the recovered bodies were burnt beyond recognition, and police had to resort to DNA to identify the remains. 13 more bodies have been recovered in California, bringing the death toll in the wildfire to 42. The remains were found in and around the largely burnt town of Paradise in the north of the state. At least 228 people are still missing as the campfire continues to rage. Nearly 7,200 structures have been destroyed and another 15,500 are at risk. The fire has now surpassed the 1933 Griffith Park disaster that killed 31 people. An estimated 250,000 people have been forced to flee their homes across the state. While in sports, ahead of the African Cup of Nations match against South Africa, the former president of Nigeria Football Federation, Sani Lulu Abdullahi, is warning the Super Eagles against being overconfident. Lulu Abdullahi, while speaking with newsmen, says with a new set of players, victory was sure. He charged them to play as a team, saying only caution was required to grab the expected victory. Lulu Abdullahi noted that the players were among the best in Africa, adding that their competence was not in doubt. Well, after making more than 700 appearances for 7 clubs, including West Ham and Chelsea, former England midfielder Joe Cole announced his retirement on Tuesday. Cole, who turned 37 last week, said his career had been a dream come true and he now hopes to move into coaching. His final club was Tampa Bay Rowdies in the United Soccer League, the second tier in the U.S. Cole made 716 professional appearances, scoring 104 goals for 7 clubs, and his 53 England caps spanned across 3 World Cup tournaments. He made his international debut aged 19 when he was earmarked as one of England's brightest young talents at the Hammers. Well, that's where we draw the curtains on tonight's bulletin. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Thank you so much for watching.